Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Vada and today I'm gonna share with you my April's wrap up, which by the way was an excellent reading month for me. I read 6 books and unfortunately I would read actually 7, but one I didn't have the time to finish. So yeah, maybe next time. I will finish it in the future for sure because I liked it so much. Okay, let me share those books with you. The first one is Starfell by Dominique Valente. Willow Moss and the Lost Day is the first book of the Starfell series, and I love this book so much. I gave it 5 stars, and if I could I would give all the stars in the sky. It was amazing, honestly. It was such a great read, and it gave me so much the vibes of a pinch of magic adventure. So imagine the level that I like, the level of how much I liked it. So in this book we follow Willow, and Willow belongs in a family of witches. Her mother is a witch, her sisters, her grandmother, so they all have important, powerful magic, and Willow is the one that has the least powerful magic, and her power is to find lost items. Of course, the villagers of Starfell, they try to take advantage of this, and they go to Willow with their problems of their lost items, and Willow is trying to find their items all the time. So Willow's main job is finding lost socks and teeth and things like that. Until one day that the most powerful witch in Starfell, Wynne, she went and asked Willow for her help. And this is where the quest begins, because what Morag asked from Willow was to find a lost day. Apparently last Tuesday is lost and nobody knows why. And Willow, since she can find lost items, maybe she is capable of finding an entire lost day. So the witch, the powerful witch Morag, asks Willow to find the lost day, because apparently nobody can remember what happened on that day. And it might appear an ordinary Tuesday, an ordinary day, but imagine that major events would have happened on a day like this. Births, deaths, things, normal daily life things, that they didn't happen in the end. So Willow now is trying to find out what happened. She leaves on an adventure to restore the lost day with this lovely kobold, because he's not a cat, as he says, Wynne. This is Wynne here, and yeah, she goes on this lovely adventure, and she meets very nicely written characters. So she meets dragons and trolls, and a very interesting character that his name is Nolan sometimes. And it was sometimes very difficult to read this name during a sentence, because I thought that there was, the word sometimes instead of the last name of this person sometimes. Yeah, it was fun. In the end it was fun. It was a bit confusing, but I didn't mind. I liked it. So the world building is amazing. His house, Nolan's house, is beautifully written also. I loved it. I loved all the adventure, and I cannot wait to start reading the next book. 5 stars from me, and it was an excellent read and fast-paced. It's only 200 pages, I think, 200 something. I read half of it during my flight to Greece and half of it during my return flight from Greece, and I had such a nice time reading about Willow and her adventures. And yeah, 5 stars, highly recommend it. I'm sure you're gonna love it, honestly. And if you had a superpower, which one this would be? Let me know in the comments, it will be fun. The next book I read during April was Tilly and the Bookwanderers by Anna James. I don't have a physical copy with me because it stayed back in Greece, but it's okay. I remember the book, it's fine. So Tilly lives with her grandparents in a bookstore, which is also their home. So it's home and bookstore, they're connected somehow. And she lives there, and she helps them with their store. And one day she realizes that she has this great imagination that can actually bring books, bring characters from the books that she reads into life, and she thinks that it's just her imagination, but actually it's not just that. Tilly finds out that she has this magical power, that she can actually do book wandering, and she can hop from one book to the other, and she actually can meet the characters that she loves from the stories. So one day in the bookstore, she has a visit from Alice in Wonderland, and from Anne of Green Gables, or Annie maybe. I haven't read this book yet, but I will at some point. So yeah, Tilly has those visitors, and she realizes that she has a special power to do this book wandering, and she wants to take advantage of this, and she wants to actually dive in and find out what happened with her mother, because many years ago her mother was declared as a missing person, and nobody continued this case, so this case mysteriously was closed. So Tilly now, with her power, she realizes that maybe her mother had the same one, and maybe she's lost somewhere in the books. So yeah, Tilly is trying to find out what happened to her, and along with it we meet interesting characters, and I loved Tilly's friends, and I loved how the grandparents treated her like in a very nice way. They were such nice parental figures. So even if Tilly grew up without parents, it was like she didn't miss something, because her grandparents were there to raise her and to be close to her. So I loved their these characters so much. And of course there is a well-written villain in this story. I mean, it's always difficult to write a nice villain that people can actually hate. So yeah, this is what those feelings that he brought out of me, the hate feelings. So I declare this book as a successful read for me. So I give it 5 stars, and I cannot wait to jump into the next adventure. I loved it, honestly. The third book I read during April was The Chronicles of Chrestomanci by Diana Wynne Jones. And this cover is stunning. I know all of them, they're stunning, because there are many editions of the Chrestomanci series that they're just so beautiful. So it took me a long time to figure it out that this is my preferred one, because of the dragon, of course, and the castle. Yeah, so let's have a closer look. I just loved it, honestly. And this book contains 2 stories. So my sister has them in different books. So the first half is the Charmed Life, and then we have the lives of Christopher Chant. And many people say that these stories here in the Chronicles of Chrestomanci was something like Harry Potter before Harry Potter. And they are not wrong, So reading these stories, you have the Harry Potter vibes. So Charmed Life was written in 1977, so many years before Harry Potter, and still those books can give you this vibe. I was so wondering why they're not movies already. Why nobody thought to make the movies? It's great. This series is great. And I used to read those books when I was little, and then I forgot about them, and now this is actually a reread to see if I remember them. Actually, I didn't remember them, so it was like the first time I read them, and I was surprised as much as I was when I was little. In the first book, Charmed Life, we follow the lives of 2 orphans, Kat and Gwendoline. And Gwendoline is a witch, and Kat appears to not have any magic power. And the Chrestomanci of this world, because Chrestomanci is a title, it's like a governor or something. So he's the one who maintains balance and makes sure that magic is not misused and things like that. So the current Chrestomanci at that time, he takes an interest on them, and he invites them to live in his castle with his wife and his children. And Kat and Gwendolyn have a hard time there because, okay, Kat finds it difficult to adapt to his new life, and Gwendolyn, who is a witch, she wants to show up all the time and to show her powers because they are great, excellent magic powers. And Chrestomanci does not appreciate her efforts. He's not impressed, I will say, not that he doesn't appreciate her efforts, but he's not impressed, and he's trying actually to educate them so they will not use magic without reason, and to avoid this excess of magic and this all show off of Gwendolyn. But Gwendolyn gets so pissed and annoyed, and she wants to catch his attention at all costs. So she tries a super powerful magical spell, and she makes actually she manages to travel to other worlds, and she actually brought from a world to the current world another copy of her. So apparently there are many worlds involved, parallel worlds to the Chrestomanci world, and there are many Gwendolyns. So the original Gwendolyn left, and another one took her place. And Kat, her brother, is trying to keep this a secret from Chrestomanci, but yeah. Anyways, no more spoilers. Actually, I don't know if this is a spoiler because the real story is something else, something more intriguing and more fascinating. So I loved it so much. The character development is amazing. Gwendolyn is a witch to hate and to love at the same time because she's very talented and very funny, and at the same time she's so mean, especially to her brother. She's so mean. At some point I hated her so much, honestly. And it was so fun to read of these adventures here. And if you have read this book, then I want to remind you what the items do when they are removed from Chrestomanci Castle. And that was a super funny moment for me. If you read this book, let's talk about it because it was hilarious. So the second book in this volume here is The Lives of Christopher Chant, and we follow the story as it was 25 years before the story in The Charmed Life. So the Chrestomanci of The Charmed Life is Christopher Chant, and we see how he managed to become the Chrestomanci that we know in The Charmed Life. So it's kind of the childhood adventures of this person. And Christopher has a very unique ability. So other people have ordinary dreams, but his dreams are not really ordinary. Every night he dreams that he gets up from his bed and he finds a little road behind the bookcases and the closet in his room, and there is a place. So he actually climbs up in this place, and this is what he calls the place in between worlds. So from there he actually can go to different worlds. Every angle it is a world, it's a new world there, and he names all these places not anywheres. So he can actually go anywhere, but not only one time, he can go anywhere in all these worlds. And at some point his uncle finds out about this special ability because Christopher manages to bring back, when he's awake, items from the worlds that he visited when he was dreaming. And this is fascinating, of course, but the uncle wants to make experiments with him, and I will stop here. So he wants to participate in some experiments that I will not tell you what are those things, but they are interesting. And another important thing is that Christopher Chant had 9 lives, and maybe that's why also his uncle wanted to make him to participate in those experiments, because he had lives to spend on them. And honestly, with all this adventuring into these other worlds, he kept losing lives out of very important or less low out of non-important things sometimes. So he was stupidly losing lives, and it was hilarious sometimes. Sometimes it wasn't. It was just sad. But anyways, he kept losing lives, and at some point, yeah, you'll find out, right? So, if after Harry Potter you were wondering, asking yourself, will I ever be able to read something that magical? The answer is yes. Read the Chronicles of Chrestomanci. Another book that I read during April was The Silent Patient from Alex Michaelides. And this is a psychological thriller. And this is not something that I'm used to read. But it was more like a mystery, so it wasn't scary. I got easily scared, so I'm not really reading thrillers. But this one was okay. I didn't get scared. I enjoyed it. The characters were very well written, and the story was super intriguing. So we have Alice, and Alice is a painter, and she lives a very nice and happy life with her husband Gabriel, who is a photographer. And one day Gabriel returns home, and Alice shoots him on the face with a gun all of a sudden. Yeah, and Gabriel dies, and of course Alice went to prison and then to a sanatorium, to a clinic, something like this. And she never spoke a word since that day. And today, I mean not today, but the current day in the book, there is a psychologist, Theo, that takes an interest to her, and he went to that clinic aiming to help her, and yeah, so people will find out what happened on that day that she killed her husband. I liked it. It had an amazing plot twist that I didn't see coming. I give it 4 stars because it's not the kind of books I usually read. So yeah, I mean, for me, 5 stars books are the ones with fantasy and magic, and that gives you happiness, and yeah, and this was not. But this is the kind of book. It's not that it's not good. I mean, for the people who like those books, those kind of books, thrillers, it should be 5 star. I mean, I don't see why not. So yeah, for the fans of this type of books, I'm sure why they would give a 5 star. For me, it was 4, and I would reread it, no problem. Yeah. And also, I loved the Greek elements in this book, because there are so many times that there are mentioned Greek myths and names and events of the mythology, and that was very nice to read it in a book, because I'm originally from Greece and I like to see my culture, how it inspires others. It's lovely. Yeah, I didn't like the ending, but at that point I don't know what else it could have happened to have a better ending on this story. It was sad in many parts, so this book must have many trigger warnings on many psychological aspects that I don't know the terms in English. I mean, yeah, I'm not familiar with those topics, but I got sad in many parts. I felt sorry for the characters many times, and yeah, we can see with this book how much things that we experience in life actually can be damaging for our soul and heart and personality. 4 stars. It was a very nice read, and if you have read it, let me know and we can talk more about it in the comments. And the last book that I read during April was Illusions of Grandeur, The Impossible Julian Strande by Kathryn and Kingsley. This is a duology, and this is the first book of this duology, and it was amazing. It was an excellent read, and this is a bookmark from Dresden. Have you ever been to Dresden? It's such a beautiful place. So anyways, this book has many warnings because of the adult content, so be sure that it has much adult content, erotic scenes, and it's not for everyone. And because I don't know who is watching this video, then I will not get into too many details. But okay, so in this book we follow Alice, not in Wonderland, but in a kind of Wonderland place, because she finds a new job in this Strande mansion, and this place is like filled with illusions and puzzles and things like that. So the place itself, it's a marvelous place. And she falls in love with her boss, Charles, and Charles is a performer, a magician, an illusionist, whatever, in the theater that it is inside the mansion. And she falls in love with him and he with her, okay. But we understand that this mansion is actually like a museum, and since there is this theater there with the performances, people are visiting there, and people are talking too much, and there is this rumor that there is a ghost in this mansion. This uncle of Charles, this Julian Strande, and this uncle is long ago missing or dead. Some people say that he is dead in this place, somewhere buried inside that place, or not buried and rotting somewhere. But anyways, so they believe the ghost stories, and of course they go there to watch the plays in the theater and the performances there, but also to have a glimpse of the ghost, if it will appear ever, or he will appear ever. And so the ghost doesn't care about anybody there, or his nephew, or anyone actually, but he takes a lot of interest to Alice because he gets obsessed with Alice. And so there is this spooky, creepy, dark romance between the ghost and this girl, and okay, it's weird, I know, but I liked it, and it was different from other things that we read. It was different from other things I read, to be precise. So I liked it, even if it was creepy and weird in many places. I liked it because I was surprised many times from what was going on. And I recommend it 4 stars, and not 5 because I didn't like how it ended. It ended with an event that I don't know why this happened. It didn't fit well. Or maybe it will make more sense in the next book. I don't know, but I will find out. So 4 stars, The Impossible Julian Strande, for adults only, because it has many intense scenes that are not appropriate. And then there is one more book that I started reading it during my stay in Greece, and then I didn't have the chance to finish it actually. But I will in the future. So this book is The Six of Crows. I started reading this book, and when I was at about 30 page or so, I realized that something is wrong because there are so many characters in the first chapters that I didn't realize what was going on, honestly. So 30 pages passed and I was like, who is who, and who is this person now, and why this acts like this, and why this person has this magic ability, whatever. So I realized that it's wrong, but I was so determined to read this book and understand it and get it right, that I went back and I started reading it again, and I was keeping notes. So I made like diagrams, who is who, and in which house he is, and what is going on, and his relatives, and what is happening. So even if I watched the series, the Shadow and Bone series on Netflix, I forgot many things. So when I was reading this book, I was still questioning myself. So, and why this happens now, and why this is going on, and but I kept notes, and then everything started to make sense, and then I loved it so much, and I'm rooting so much for the relationship between Nina and Matthias, and it was amazing. And I reached until 70% of it, and yeah, then I had to come back. And this book is, I have this nice edition that it's like a brick, and it wouldn't fit in any of my luggage, honestly. So I was like, I'm so sorry, but I have to abandon you here. So yeah, I will catch it up again when I will go back to Greece during the summer. But I left it in a very nice point in which yeah, everything is set it up for like the final actions, and I don't mind to wait, so I will read about them during the summer. It's okay. I'm not sure if I should say that I DNF'd this book because it has a negative meaning, and it wasn't the case for me because I loved it. I liked it so much. The characters were great, the magic system was amazing. Even if it took me some time to get to it, then I realized what is going on, and then I appreciate it more. So yeah, I don't want to say I DNF'd it because it sounds like a negative way. I will say that I just let it a little bit rest and then I will catch it back again when I will be able to. Yeah, it's not that I don't like it. Again, for me so far, to the 70% of this, it's a 5 stars book, honestly. I loved it, honestly, but I couldn't finish it. So let's talk about it again after I finish it in the summer. Yeah, so this is it. We have 4 books here because this one contains 2, and the 3 that I don't have the physical copies with me, so it's like 6 books and 70% of the crows. And that was an excellent reading month, honestly, because considering vacations, seeing family and friends most of the time, yeah, I'm so surprised I did that well. So yeah, thanks a lot for your attention, for watching my video, and I hope I will see you next time. Till then, have fun and enjoy life. Bye.